Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Business Beyond the Beach in partnership with our friends here at Miami Community Newspapers. My name is Brittnie Bassant, President and CEO of Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, and today I have with me Cristine Hernandez. She is the VP of Development over at Chapman Partnership. Cristine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. I'm so excited to finally be on Business Beyond the Beach with you, Brittnie.
I'm so excited. We have so much to talk about because Chapman Partnership is an amazing, amazing organization. But for those that don't know, let's start with what is Chapman Partnership? I keep saying partnership, but what is Chapman Partnership?
Well, partnership is just that. It's in our name for a reason. We were founded just about 31 years ago by Alva Chapman Jr., who saw a huge need to serve individuals and families that were experiencing homelessness in our community. So we are the primary private sector partner of the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust. We were founded at the same time with really a holistic approach to how we serve people experiencing homelessness. So it's a beyond shelter model where we're able to get them from homeless to home through our comprehensive programming.
So let's talk a little bit more about that because I love that phrase that you just used, from homelessness to home, and it's a holistic approach, and it just goes, like you said, it goes so far beyond just temporary shelter and just putting someone in a bed for a couple of nights. It's how do you reintegrate back into society? So talk a little bit about some of the programs that you guys have that facilitate that.
Absolutely. So the vision is that no one should sleep on the streets of our Miami-Dade County community. And when we were founded 31 years ago, there was about 10,000 people who were living unsheltered in Miami-Dade County. It was really important that we found a way to address that problem. So partnership is where that comes in. It's not a one-man show. We need our business community. We need the public sector. We need the private sector to really come together to address that. And the way that we do that is by looking at each case individually. So we are a placement-only center. So we're a homeless assistance center that provides shelter. That's what I love to debunk all the time is we provide shelter, but we really are an assistance center. So when we get individuals placed at our centers, it's really important that we look at the whole picture. So health and wellness, financial wellness, what does their employment and education scope look like? So if they're already in jobs, how do we get them better jobs? So it's really getting them to that next step and filling that gap so that we end the homelessness cycle. So they work together with a job and success coach or a case manager that really is the connector throughout their stay to ensure that they're filling all of those pieces so that they don't fall back into homelessness, all the way through to getting them housing and following up with them. So when they move out of Chapman, we actually assign them a follow-up case manager so they're able to sustain that and be self-sufficient.
That's absolutely incredible. And you talked earlier, you were like, oh, I like to, debunk some myths. Let's debunk some myths.
Sure.
What are some of the common misconceptions or misunderstandings that the community, the public at large has about homelessness, and how are you guys addressing that?
So homelessness looks very different than it did 30 years ago, and it looks very different than what you see in movies or documentaries or just what you drive by when you see on the street. So there's a chronic population and there's a crisis population, and there's places across the community for both of those individuals and families to be served. But the ones that I love to talk about at Chapman are some really cool statistics, actually. So when you drive by somebody that's experiencing homelessness on the street, I think at some point, if you're not educated about the homelessness landscape, you think, why doesn't that person just get a job, or why don't they just get a house, right? But it's not that easy. So a statistic I love to share is over 50% of the people that Chapman serve are families with children, and they also come to us already with full-time jobs. But they're the ALICE population, which is familiar in Miami-Dade County, which is that asset-limited, income-constrained, but employed population, and there's lots of studies on it. But they really just were one emergency away from falling below the federal poverty line. So they had to decide between a dental emergency or paying their light bill. And that decision could send them into a spiral that would cause them to lose their housing. So it's important that we teach them those things. So
that's the crisis population that you were talking about.
Correct.
Right.
But sometimes even the chronic population, shelter could be scary for them, right? It's a new lifestyle, but something as little as dental care, right? How are you going to go to a job interview if you're not confident in your smile? You're not confident in yourself. A lot of people that are experiencing homelessness, if they're unsheltered for more than 6 months, statistics show that they can go up to 6 months without hearing their own name or someone making eye contact with them. I would lose my mind. So I consider all of those things when we're serving the population, because homelessness is not an identity, it's an experience. And that's really a part of the basics of what we do is You're not a homeless person. This is just an experience. We're going to get you out of it so that you can share your testimony and be what you were meant to be. We're just going to help you get there.
One of the things that I love about Chapman and your approach, and I've had the pleasure of working with Chapman now for a number of years, and I've been able to, I love you guys, but I've been there. I've been at the shelters. I've done programming with you guys. I know the team. I know how you guys approach the care and the compassion that you give to this population in our community. And I love that because one of the things, obviously, say Miami Beach, and I mean, there's homelessness everywhere, but our police chief has very publicly said that homelessness is not a crime. We don't need to treat individuals like that. We need to help them. We need to provide resources. And so knowing that we have organizations like Chapman out there that are providing these resources and doing it with so much care and empathy and compassion is so heartwarming. You also mentioned, we're going totally off script at this point. You also mentioned, because I know Chapman so well, I get so excited. You mentioned how you work with families.
Yes.
And I think that's so important because we've seen so many success stories. I mean, most recently at your Take a Walk in Her Shoes event, there was a beautiful and incredible success story, a woman with, I think, like six kids.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. But anyone who knows me knows I'm a big animal lover. And Chapman has something very unique. And I think you were the first in the country, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you talk about it. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but it's
So
one of my favorite things about Chapman.
Absolutely. So thank you for bringing that up. What's really unique about Chapman Partnership is that we have the blessing to serve every single segment of the human population. And if you've taken a tour, and you can take a tour if you want to, we can share more details about that in a bit, but is that we serve every single segment of the human population. So everything about our mission is intentional, down to the architecture. So the building was designed to serve single adult females, new and expecting moms, young adult males, elderly disabled, veterans, and families with children. So families with children is the largest population that we serve. We keep them together in one unit. So we don't separate the father because he's a male or vice versa because it's a women-only shelter. We take the whole family and they stay together. We don't want to further induce trauma by separating them. That's the best part. But before we had a coordinated outreach team, our founder used to drive the streets of Miami and say, I have a shelter, and bring them into shelter. We have a coordinated entry system process now, but back then we didn't.
Come on over. So, I'll help you.
And it was really interesting because he was driving around with a board member and a donor, and the donor, there was somebody that was experiencing homelessness, and the gentleman said, I can't come into shelter because you don't take my whole family. And so our founder, Alva, was like, that's not what we do. And it was because he wasn't willing to give up his dog. Right. And I love dogs. Right. And I know that not everyone has kids, and that is a family member for a lot of people. And so he looked over how Alva Chapman used to fundraise and said, well, this guy's going to build out a fully operational kennel in our Homestead campus. We have 2 campuses. We're getting one soon in downtown, I think.
A kennel in downtown? Amazing.
Yeah. So we're really, because the need is there. So now if you're experiencing homelessness and you have a pet with you, you're able to bring your pet with you to Chapman. They have a dog park in our Homestead campus. They are responsible for the upkeep, but we actually have a lot of great volunteers that come out and spend time with the animals and donate food and clothes and toys and beds and all the things. So it's really unique that we can keep the entire family unit by accepting your pet.
That's absolutely incredible. It's so, like I said, it's so heartwarming to know. Again, I cannot emphasize enough the amount of care and compassion and empathy that the entire team at Chapman has for this population. So thank you for everything that you guys do. So let's talk a little bit about you now, because you have a brand new role. You are the new VP of Development. It was, I think, a nationwide search. You had been with Chapman for a long time.
Yes.
And they did put out a nationwide search to fill this role, and you were selected as the candidate. And I know your president and CEO, Scott Hansel, is very, very, very proud and very excited to have you in this role. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about your journey with Chapman, and then now this new role and what that means for you, and how that's going to help you with the outreach and the community partnerships.
Thank you. So I've been with Chapman for 5 years now. I started as a development officer, but I really have been fundraising for almost a decade now, which time is flying when you're having fun, right? You're fundraising. And so I've been with Chapman for 5 years. I've seen it in many iterations. But what's really beautiful is that I've been able to grow specifically on the fundraising team. So amongst my 5 years, I've had the pleasure of fundraising with the corporate business community, with young professional affinity groups, signature events, major gifts newly. But now as the VP of Development at Chapman, I really get to shape philanthropy for what it means and how we serve our clients. I've always thought that fundraising is about people. I do think that people give to missions or they're connected to missions, but people give more to people, right? So relationships are at the core of what we do, how we serve our clients, and we should treat our donors and our volunteers the same way. It takes a village, so partnerships in our name. We simply cannot serve over 1,000 people nightly with just our staff. So my goal as the Vice President of Development is to really bridge that gap and bring people more proximate to our work and just to meet the people we're serving and that we're able to serve through their donations and through their service.
Absolutely. And you're right. You're 100% right. When it comes to anything, whether it's business, whether it's fundraising, whatever the case may be, we are a big proponent here at the Chamber and even personally, build a relationship first.
Absolutely.
Everything else follows.
Absolutely.
And it's true because you can't there's not a day that you won't call me and say, "Hey, Brittnie, I need XYZ." And it's like, "Okay, absolutely. How can I get it done?" And vice versa. And that's because of the relationship, because of the friendship that we have, because we've worked together for so long. And so I could not agree with you more that it really is the relationships are at the core of everything. We talked a little bit about Chapman Partnership and some of the services that you offer, but and how comprehensive it is. But I want to know like a little bit behind the scenes at Chapman Partnership. If you're able to share any like behind the scenes looks of what you guys do or opportunities that are available. I mean,
absolutely.
Anything you want to talk about?
I love to talk about our newest initiative, which is CP Works. So it's really big in the workforce development and education side of things. So there was a specific population that we were serving and a gap that we identified through our partners at the Lennar Foundation and at the Underline, where we came together and there was a specific group of people that had over 100 resumes out, were interviewing, but they were just not getting the job. That's no reason to close their case and say, you can't live in shelter with us anymore. So we said, what is that gap and how can we fill it? So we started an initiative called CP Works, where we essentially became a staffing agency for some of our clients. So through our partnership with the Underline and powered through the Lennar Foundation and many other partners, we were able to hire them ourselves through CP Works as a staffing agency. So Chapman Partnership Works. And it's really more of a transitional period so that they don't have a huge gap on their resume. So they work as park stewards through on the Underline. So if you're on the Underline and you see them, they're Chapman Partnership, either clients or they've graduated from Chapman Partnership. But we've been able to not close their case and keep them close to us. There's so much that's coming down the pipeline with CP Works just to help our workforce, right? We're growing so fast as a Miami-Dade County community all over our county. And so we want to be able to support our community and have that economic reinvestment back to our businesses and populations that we serve. So,
as a Chamber of Commerce, when you start talking about economic investments and like workforce challenges, I'm like, yes, absolutely, because it's true. It's something that we need to address, and it's not an overnight solution, and it takes creative, out of the box thinking to make that happen. And so it's so exciting to hear about this new initiative, which I actually didn't know about. So I'm very excited about it now, and however we can help and however we can partner with you guys, more than happy to explore options there. I know this personally because I've done it. There are so many ways to get involved with Chapman Partnership, whether you are an individual, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a donor, a philanthropist, whether you're young, you're older, whatever the case may be. If you want to get involved with Chapman, there are just dozens upon dozens of opportunities and ways and groups and things that you can do. So tell me a little bit about try to keep it like we're on a clock right now, but there's so many great things that you can do. I mean, like I know personally, probably when we're done with this interview, I'm going to coordinate with you to come out and do a meal service and, just volunteer at the shelter and serve meals, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. You guys need help all the time, every single day of the week. There's always an opportunity. That's just one of dozens. So
yes.
Christine, tell me about how to get involved.
Absolutely. At Chapman Partnership, obviously, we're on site. All of our staff are on site serving our clients. So it's not like we're in some remote location doing administrative work. We're there. So there's so many opportunities. I always love to tell people when you're looking to get involved with Chapman, it's a very intentional mission. We are serving people. Their lives are in our hands. Their kids are telling us about their football games that are coming up. We're really ingrained in their lives. So I always tell people you can give of your time by volunteering. There's volunteer opportunities 3 times a day, 7 days a week, all year round, even on holidays. You can visit our website at www.chapmanpartnership.org to sign up to volunteer. And I always tell people, when you come to give to Chapman, make sure it makes sense for you. We want to make sure that there's value add on both ends of the partnership so that it's intentional. So you always hear time, talent, or treasure, right? Which is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to ask you for money, because that's what me and my team do. But I like to add a fourth T to that, which is your testimony. Everybody at some point in their life has come across somebody experiencing homelessness, somebody in their family, someone in their neighborhood, themselves. Testimony is super important. It takes a village to kind of see the myths around homelessness. So learn more about homelessness in your community. Learn how you can get involved and support the entire continuum of care. But share your testimony, because when you share testimony, that's where connection happens. And that's where you can see where you and your family can give more, or give better, or give more intentionally. You can also sign up to go to one of our 2 signature events. We have a fantastic one in the spring that happens every year. We actually honored Brittnie Bassant one year. And we have our annual Illuminations Gala, which is coming up on October 17th. We hope to see you there.
Absolutely. You can't miss it. The Chapman Illuminations Gala is one of the best galas all year. It is not to be missed. It's a great theme this year, but I'll let you guys do some research and figure out what it is, or Cristine can announce it later. So looking ahead, right? You guys are, I mean, Chapman is so perfectly positioned, and you've been a community pillar and partner for such a long time. But looking ahead, what do you see for the future of homelessness, some of the challenges, maybe some of the opportunities that we have here in Miami-Dade County? What does the future look like?
So we're seeing nationally, homelessness is on the rise, right? If you look at communities of our size, we're doing pretty well, right? They're in the 40,000s, 50,000s. Some are even at 100,000. So we're at an inflection point. I like to use the word threshold. We're at a threshold of what we can do.
What's our, I know you probably mentioned it earlier, but what's our number in Miami-Dade County?
We are just under 1,000, which is still too many people. But if you compare us to other cities of our size, and where we started 30 years ago at 10,000, I think just under 1,000 is pretty good. It's still one too many.
It's progress, but
we have a lot of work to do. But looking ahead, I think we just need to stay rooted in what we do, right? We do it really well. So ensuring that we're serving the client based on what they need, not what the community needs. And the community will follow, coming together with our local business community, seeing how we can support them, right? Nobody wants a family sleeping in front of their business. So bringing in our business community to understand the ins and outs of homelessness and how they can help. I think we're at a threshold point as an organization where we need to stay focused on who we're serving. But the truth is, in Miami-Dade County, there's like a 90,000 housing unit shortage. So we need to find better ways to serve and get them into housing that they can sustain. So we can't just move them out with something that becomes available. We have to be really intentional about that length of stay and ensuring that we're serving them in every possible area so that they can achieve and maintain long-term self-sufficiency.
Absolutely. It's not a simple solution. It's one that requires a lot of strategy, like you said, a lot of intention. But again, I cannot stress enough how incredible it is to know that Chapman's here and filling that gap and filling that void and providing the services. The last thing I'm going to ask you, well, I have 2 more questions for you. But I just really want to talk about, the importance of it's been the underlying theme throughout the entire interview, the importance of partnership and being involved with the community, and it's across the board, right? It's not just individuals, it's not just families, it's businesses, it's corporations, it's other nonprofit organizations, it's really everyone in the ecosystem. So thank you so much for your support of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. Chapman Partnership is a pillar member of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. We love having you on. We love your support. It is reciprocal. We're here to support you as much as you support us. But tell me why, especially you think, we've touched on it a little bit. You think of like a nonprofit organization that's focused on homelessness, yet business partnership, Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. But let's link that. We've done it a little bit. You talked about like businesses don't want homeless people sleeping outside their storefronts, but why that partnership is so important to you?
Partnership is in our name. So that's like the obvious one, right? It's not possible to serve everybody that we serve on a nightly basis without the buy-in from our community. At Chapman Partnership, we really truly believe that. We were founded on principles of partnership, right? We came together with the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust. It's a public-private partnership. It doesn't exist anywhere in the country, right? So it's really important that we continue that theme as an organization. We want to make sure that there's value add. For me, leading the development team now, partnership, it has to be rooted in what we do. We can't just have one-off donations and always trying to get ahead. We have to have the buy-in not only on the monetary side, like it's wonderful that a corporation wants to give us a gift and we're so grateful, but we also want them to volunteer. We want them to bring their teams out and their families out to see who we're serving and how we're serving. But we also want to be able to support their partnerships and their corporate social responsibility. So if we're the best partner for them, then we also need to reciprocate that. Being a partner of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, which we are so happy to be partnered with you guys, it really just demonstrates the value of connection, right? There's so much education to be done in the homelessness space, and there's also so much we can learn from our business community. There's a huge travel of wealth that's migrating to our community. A lot of them are on the beach, and we want to make sure that we're connecting them to missions that matter. So maybe it's not Chapman Partnership, but maybe it is. So being in the rooms with Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce members and supporters is important to us, because we also want them to know that the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce doesn't only care about businesses, they care about the communities that support them and how they thrive because of those businesses. So it's just a super intentional partnership all around, and that's why we do it.
I love that. That's absolutely, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you got that on camera, because normally when people say stuff like that, I'm like, did someone record that? And we did. We did record it this time. We got it on camera. So thank you. Thank you for that testimony. As we were talking about earlier, it goes both ways, as we've seen with everything that we've discussed today. My last question, because I think we're a little over on time, but it's fine. We're good, because I could talk to you for hours. My last question to you is, if you can go back, I mean, I know you're still young in your career, but if you can go back to the beginning of your career, or just to your younger self, like young little baby Cristine running around, and give some advice, what advice would you give? Or what would you say?
I would say so much, but I'm still very talkative, but I was very talkative back then too. I would say to my younger self, don't make decisions based on who you are today. Make decisions for who you're becoming.
Oh, wow.
I think we get really caught up in what's happening right now and I need to be better, but we need to look at the person we're becoming. And when you look at the decisions you're making based on where you want to be, the thing that becomes impossible changes to growth. And so I would say make decisions based on who you're becoming, not based on today.
I absolutely love that. Look at who you want to be and make a decision based on that. Yeah. And that's going to get you to who you want to be. Absolutely. It's all linked. It's all symbiotic, and it makes so much sense. And this has been such a pleasure, such a blast. Like I said, I had
so much fun.
I know. I can hang out with you and talk to you for hours. I love the work that you guys do. You guys definitely get involved with Chapman Partnership. Visit their website, www.chapmanpartnership.org, because they are a nonprofit, and get involved. There's so many ways to just get involved. And thank you, Cristine, again, for being on the show. Thank you guys for watching. This has been another episode of Business Beyond the Beach in partnership with our friends here at Miami Community Newspapers, and we will see you next week.